What's up, Hello News family? Welcome to another episode of the Can We Talk podcast, our show where we talk to dope people in the community doing dope things. And today is no different. Look, this is a special edition of the Can We Talk podcast. We have mayoral candidate from the city of Miami, Commissioner Eileen Higgins. She's back on the show to explain to you guys why you guys should get out to vote. You know, what's going on with early voting, the runoff, and everything that you need to know. So without further ado, I would love to welcome back to the show, friend of the show, Commissioner Eileen Higgins. Hey, what's up?
Hello, it's Thanksgiving week. So are you ready to celebrate and see family and eat a little too much turkey?
Yes, I am. I'm so ready. I started a little bit of the festivities already, but I'm really excited about this time. What about you? Because you kind of are working during this time.
Yeah,
too.
but you gotta take time out for family. So I'll be spending Thanksgiving with my parents. My sister lives in Tampa, so we're all gonna collide at mom and dad's house, and it'll be good. It'll be good.
That sounds like fun. This is a good time to be with family. So yeah, if you have that situation. But I would love to talk about the mayoral runoff because, well, congratulations for making it to the runoff. But I guess, you know what, let's start with some people because I like to educate a lot of our viewers who may not, know about the political process. So can you tell them like what happens during a runoff election in the city of Miami, specifically for your race?
Yeah. So, and it is confusing, I think, for some people. In Miami, in our local elections, we don't have a primary. We don't have a Democratic primary. We don't have a Republican primary. So everybody runs together in what we call the first round. And so the first round, which was on November 4th, had 13 people running. And you have to get 50%, which is really hard to do with 13 in the race. And then otherwise, the top two candidates go to the runoff. And you could have two Democrats, two Republicans, one of each, two independents, whatever you want. So the top two people head to the runoff. And that runoff is December 9th. I was really grateful to the residents of Miami. I was the top vote getter in the first round, and I go into the election with kind of a 2-1 margin over Mr. Gonzalez, who also is in the runoff. And so we've got to go vote again if you live in the city of Miami, because the future of our community is at stake. What do we want it to be? What do we want it to do? How do we want it to feel? And as we know from last November, elections have consequences, and the whole tone of America changed overnight. And we need to think about making sure we're doing the same thing here in Miami, but in the direction we want it to go.
Yes. And, I'm glad you broke that down because sometimes people, not knowing the election process or the political process thinks, oh, I voted that one time, I don't need to go back out again. So for anyone who haven't any voter apathy or voter fatigue, what would you tell them, is maybe a motivation or something that they should know that they need to get back out, during early voting and or December 9th to vote, in the election that you're in? Why should they come back out?
Well, first of all, if you live in the city of Miami, I haven't met, like I do, I haven't met anybody that doesn't complain about the city government, right? So don't complain about the city government, change the city government. And the only way to do that is by voting. And, you've heard the complaints. We're not building affordable housing fast enough. We are not implementing the projects that'll stop our streets from flooding fast enough. We've got economic opportunity only happening in some neighborhoods, and other neighborhoods are locked out of that opportunity. And those things all change depending on the leadership and the leaders that we elect. So voting is it's a privilege, right? Not every country gets to do that. We set the direction for the city. And, I can tell you, I sit around and my mind is blown sometimes watching the city of Miami commission meetings. Got a bunch of guys just yelling at each other all the time. They're always in court. They're always suing each other. Some of them get arrested and dragged out of City Hall in handcuffs. I mean, the shenanigans, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a reality show.
It is a reality show. It's got to stop. I've been on the county commission for 8 years. There's no scandals, no drama, no yelling, just getting to work every day, making sure, that the top priorities of the people are my top priorities, right? Housing, right? Housing, and housing, right? Affordability. I think is, I don't think you're going to meet anybody that doesn't say that's the thing that matters most to them. So you got to get out and vote. I know it's a horrible time, right? You got Thanksgiving, you got Mark Basel, people are putting up their Christmas tree, getting ready for Hanukkah, all of that. But December 9th is election day. We do have 3 days of early voting, December 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the weekend before. You can go anywhere in the city those 3 days and vote. But it really is how we decide what we want the city of Miami to be. I certainly hope people vote for me, but even if they don't, go vote. Your voice matters.
Yes. No, thank you for breaking that down. And just as you're saying, like, we have to be more civically engaged. And sometimes that means stretching yourself and being a little bit uncomfortable, but prioritizing this is a direct impact to your everyday life. So I'm not saying who to vote for, but you definitely need to vote in this election. Just make a decision, just vote, period. In the words of our good friend, Papa Keith.
Exactly. He does say that, just vote, period.
Yeah. And so, you kind of touched on it a little bit, like housing is one of your main priorities, but can you let us know, like, some of the things in your platform or some of the things that you would like to implement or, have initiatives when if elected mayor for city of Miami. So let some people know, like, what are just some of the things that you stand on and why they should vote for you?
We can talk about housing in a bit, but let me talk about small businesses, right? And our business environment in general, right? One of the things that has to happen in the city of Miami is we have to have a strong economy. And we've seen in recent years that Mayor Suarez has attracted a number of tech companies to come here, which is great, right? A lot of other cities are dying and we're flourishing. With that success has come some of the affordability issues, right? And so what I want to make sure we're focusing on is still saying, yeah, you can come here and open a business here, but we want to make sure that it's the residents here that are in the pipeline for those high paying jobs in your company. And that will be things like expanding Miami Tech Works, where at Miami-Dade College, we quickly train people up in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. And then there's over 100 companies already that provide paid internships. So again, making sure our people are accessing these opportunities. And then in every neighborhood, we have the sabor of Miami. Every neighborhood is different. We got to make sure that our small businesses survive. Nobody wants to live in a place where it's all chains. It's boring. Mm-hmm. One of the things I did after the pandemic was launch a very robust program in my district called Elevate Small Business. In the district I represent, which is Little Havana, downtown Brickell, Shenandoah, parts of Flagami, there's 8,000 small businesses, right? Wow. And we found out those were vulnerable during the pandemic. So the Elevate Small Business program gave technical training, development, whether it was marketing, communications, artificial intelligence, financial training, how to scale your business up, how to grow your business. And then combined that with two funds that I created, the Rise Miami-Dade Fund and the New Heights Microloan Fund, to give them access to capital. And wow. My goal when I'm mayor is to take that Elevate small business program and make it citywide, so that all small business owners, no matter where you live in the city of Miami, are able to really participate and grow. And it worked. We've got businesses that have one location that have 6 or 7. We have businesses that were only in Miami that are now all over Florida. And some of them are all over the US and some of them are working out of the country. So we can create a small business ecosystem that also drives growth. It doesn't always have to be growth from outside. We can grow from within as well. So those are some of the things I'm looking forward to working on at the city.
Awesome. And let's talk about some of your views on affordable housing. Where do you stand on that?
Well, it's pretty straightforward. We need to build more affordable housing. The city has a lot of land. The way I've been successful in building thousands of units of affordable and workforce housing, right? We need to do both. We need very low income housing, and then we need housing for young professionals, right? They have a good job, but not good enough for a $2,500 a month rent, right? We got to make sure that we have units for them. I looked at every piece of county-owned land and I said, what's on it? And let's try to get housing on it. And that's how I've gotten thousands of units built, because one of the key cost components in construction is cost of land. But if the county owned lands, and I'm going to do the same thing at the city, I'm going to look at the city land, right? I don't know. Are you excited about the new soccer stadium and having a soccer team here? I am. But they gave away almost 100 acres of land to build the soccer stadium, which obviously doesn't take up 100 acres. We're going to get a nice park, but all of the buildings that are on the site are either hotels. Okay, that's fine. It's near the airport. Or office buildings. There's not a single unit of housing. If I had been mayor when that deal was done, there would have been housing. And so I will look to see if we can get housing added to that project rather than simply offices. And I think that's the thoughtful approach of when you have city-owned land, how do you make sure housing is part of the solution, not left out of these developments?
Thank you for breaking that down. And, just even talking about affordable housing, the connection to that is, high paying jobs. As if elected mayor of Miami, what would be your approach to attracting or retaining high paying jobs so people who are native to the city of Miami can stay and live and work and afford to live in the city?
Yeah, I hear about it all the time. There's a lot of artificial intelligence companies that have now chosen Miami as their home, cybersecurity companies, a number of big tech firms. And one of the things that they're telling me is it's hard to get started here, right? Because even these companies that come here, they rent an office space, but they got to build it out. It can take 2 years to get the permits to build out. We've got to get them in business more quickly. We can't have businesses coming here, spending the money to locate here and then going, we're trapped in a bureaucracy. We can't even open the doors. Wow. And that's happening to little businesses, happening to big businesses. So very important that we work on the small business and big business permitting so that everybody opens their shop sooner rather than later. And then continue to work on the connections, particularly with Miami-Dade College, with FIU, St. Thomas and Barry and more. We're blessed with the plethora of educational institutions. Have those conversations. What are the skills you need? What jobs are you going to be bringing here? Cybersecurity. And let me tell you, we heard that loud and clear with Miami-Dade College, put together a hugely robust program to train people up in cybersecurity so we have the workforce ready for those jobs. So you got to be able to talk to the business people. They're going to know exactly what the resume needs to look like. They're going to know exactly what education needs to look like. And many of those jobs don't require a college degree. They require certificates. And then at Miami-Dade College, we just, with the president there is fantastic, Madeline Pumariega, and she's been creating these programs, and we're making sure we're feeding our folks into those jobs.
Wow. And thanks for breaking that down. Even for you to say that it could take 2 years to do a build out for a business wanting to open. What is happening in the city of Miami? Why would it take that long to get permits?
I don't know. Head exploded. Or an emoji that we can put on the screen. Who knows? I have no idea. We have a notorious permitting system. Affordable housing, let's say you want to build 80 units of affordable housing for seniors. It'll take you 1.5 to 2.5 years to get your permits to break ground.
Wow.
Then it maybe only takes 18 months to build it. So the bureaucracy is longer than the construction. So we've got small businesses held back. We got housing, keeping people out of housing because of our terrible permitting system. And then if you are a homeowner, right, they don't treat you like a customer. It could take over a year to get a permit for your fence, to fix your roof, to replace your windows with hurricane windows. All that has to stop. We have got to get these things out the door. And there's technology. The city of Honolulu, I know that sounds funny, but they get hurricanes, right? So they have serious building codes like we do. They have cut their permitting time in half by using artificial intelligence.
Wow.
Right. So it's doable. The county has cut its permitting time sometimes by more than 80%. So we've done it right here. I led that initiative at the county, including funding new computer systems to make that happen. So it can be done. It has to be done. We need a city that works for the people, not against the people. And imagine if you have your home on a street that always floods. And the city says, we're going to do a drainage project for you. And then it takes 3 years to get the permits for its own projects.
Are you serious?
It's just ridiculous. It could be 2 years. It could be 3. It's ridiculous. That's 2 to 3 hurricane seasons, 2 to 3 rainy seasons, more flooding in your yard, possibly, hopefully not, but possibly in your home or your small business. So there is, I hate to be boring. I'm an engineer, so I am boring. But anyway.
No, this is fascinating to me because I didn't know how.
The nerds are uniting here on the Can We Talk podcast. That stuff, it's kind of like the foundation of how a city gets things done. And so when permitting is broken, everything that the residents and business owners need is broken, and it's slowed down. And by the way, any project that is slowed down costs more, right? So let's say it's a 3-year delay to get a public works project. That project costs 40% more, right? So if you can get that permitted in less than a year, some of them are complicated, right? They're complicated. It's going to take a year to permit. But if you can get that out the door in a year, you could build almost another whole project with the savings. So projects are costing more. When projects cost more, by the way, that's our money, right? That's our money, the people's money. So permitting will make our projects less expensive. Same thing for homeowners. These poor contractors. I know contractors that just won't work in the city of Miami. They're like, it's just not worth it. The trauma of trying to figure out for a small job. So small jobs, which are big for a homeowner, right? A couple $1,000s for a homeowner. It's a lot to fix your windows or this and that. They just can't find the range of people to do it. But so this is when I talk about a city that works for the residents, we need a city that works for the residents. It can't just be a bureaucratic black hole where every question just gets sucked in and destroyed. It's not dark matter. We need to have a city that is helpful, like answer the phone, help people, and let them fix the things they need to fix, and let's get the city fixing the things it needs to fix.
It's definitely clear that new leadership is needed in the city of Miami.
Indeed.
Just switching gears a little bit, you talked about a little bit too, like keeping the culture of the city of Miami. It's something that is a hot button conversation, and we talked about it before in previous interviews, is gentrification. And what the Black community and even the Hispanic Cuban community, like with gentrification, we lose that soul of the city of Miami. What are your views on I guess slowing down or reversing gentrification so that like the culture and the spirit of the city of Miami, when you have places like Overtown and Little Havana and Little Haiti, all in the city of Miami, Coconut Grove, what are your thoughts and your views on like keeping that soul and culture of the city of Miami and the connection to gentrification?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that are down on paper but aren't alive and funded and being implemented. And maybe I'll give you a couple of examples, right? Overtown, through the work of Metris and a number of others, they've received this designation, which is hard to get, called one of America's main streets for 3rd Avenue, right? So that gives us the ability to make sure that 3rd Avenue, we can market that differently, we can attract tourism differently. So we can make sure that the heart, soul, and history, I think, importantly, and the people of that neighborhood are part of that forward-facing point of view about Overtown. That it's not a place that just needs to be redeveloped. It needs to be rediscovered. That doesn't mean that there's not buildings that need to be fixed up. You know that as well as I do. We got to fix that stuff up. Yeah. But we also have to make sure that the partners in there live in the neighborhood and work in the neighborhood, right? And that they're partners in the development, right? You saw, we know Keon Williams at the Urban, like he's part of, like we have people from the community that are part of the future of that community. And Alapad is another great example, right? So, Dominican, Puerto Rican, and they have a nice neighborhood that's been designated Little Santo Domingo. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't even know that.
Yes, it's an actual thing that's typed up. but there's not been this cohesive approach. And there are, just like in Overtown, there are organizations that can help with that, like the Allapattah Collaborative Community Development Corp. They're amazing, and they're trying to make sure they're marrying housing with small business in the same kinds of structures, again, so that Allapattah doesn't lose its unique identity, right? I think we all know that, things get built, things change. We have to be part of the change. That's the trick, not left out of the change. And opportunity has to be everywhere. And that starts, Liberty City is probably a great example where the level of safety was so poor, right? It was hard. It was hard as a mother, let your kid walk on the streets. It was not, It was dangerous, right? And it was dangerous because we had just concentrated poverty there. Well, okay, there you go. In a racist way, let's be very clear, done on purpose. And a lot of the investment that's going on in that area now is bringing working families to the area, people that can pay market rate rent. And so we're building a mixed income area there that brings opportunity. And that 15th Avenue corridor, I think, is a huge opportunity. In the same way we're talking about the 3rd Avenue corridor in Overtown. It's not as far along, but that we need to have an amazing commercial corridor. And one of the things that neighborhood does not have is a grocery store within walking distance.
That's true.
Right? It's a food desert, which is ridiculous. And by the way, Overtown is no longer a food desert, right? Right. We have a number of grocery stores there, all walkable to the neighborhood. And so that is one of the things that's top on my priority. And we have finally at the county made sure that everyone has a new home there. Right. So all of the old, what I'm talking about, those horrible barracks that just nobody should have been living in for a long time. And so that will enable us to kind of, they need to be demolished, right? And I know as much as we hate them, they're also memories, but that will enable that section of Liberty Square and Liberty City to become available for things like a grocery store. And then also on 15th Ave, importantly, the county, we made sure that there was office space and a co-working space for the Miami Chamber. So the Black Chamber has their offices there. They're beautiful offices if you haven't gone by. And because we have to have neighborhoods where business people go and they feel like, yeah, I could have my co-working space here. And yeah, I could live up here. And so that's why when I say there has to be opportunity in every neighborhood, neighborhoods need to be complete neighborhoods. And it doesn't mean they stay the same, right? If we're not facing the future, we're fading into the past. But we have to make sure that the folks that live there and grew up there are part of the next phase of the future. And so I see some hope in some of these neighborhoods and the folks that are doing things and coalescing around making sure those things happen. But you gotta be careful. And listen, there are people that own lots. Whoever owned them before sold them. And in Florida, we don't have the ability under state law to stop people from doing what they want on them. That's illegal under Florida state law. But certainly there are people that want to, they'd like to use their property to make some money, but they are much more open to doing it in a community focused way. And those are the folks we have to connect together to make sure our neighborhoods don't fall apart and become, I don't know, all the same.
Yes. No, thank you for breaking that down. And you hit a lot of key points on, things that I think could be transformative for, our neighborhoods and keeping the culture of City of Miami. Commissioner Higgins, before I let you go, is there anything else you would like our audience to know about your platform? Also let's plug the early voting and election day and how people can connect with you, but just definitely wanted to give you, an opportunity to talk about anything that we didn't touch on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we touched on a lot of the big issues that matter to people. Miami it's an awesome place. Why we live here, but we all know we face some challenges. And the next few years, as we confront those challenges, are going to determine how we look and how we feel and how we live together in community. And that's one of the things, that's the one that I want to do as a leader, is make sure our community and the people who live here are first and foremost in everything I think about. So we got to vote. If you want, whoever you vote for, hopefully me, but whoever you vote for, if you've got a ballot at home, drop it in the mail. Early voting will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5th, 6th, and 7th, the week before the election. And December 9th, polls will be open. That's a Tuesday from 7 in the morning till 7 p.m. on that Tuesday. You have to go to the polling location that's on your voter registration card. But early voting can go to any of the locations that's convenient. So some people go to Legion Park, some people go to Charles Hadley Park, Shenandoah Park. There's 8 different spots you can go to for early voting.
Wow. And something that we didn't touch on, we talked about it previously, but if elected, you will be making history as the first woman mayor of the city of Miami, correct? What would that mean?
I actually didn't know that, but apparently everybody else knows that. Yeah, I will be. And so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, it is. And Commissioner Higgins, how can people connect with you? Social media, website, like how can they connect with you to learn more?
There's a website. It's Eileen.Miami. So you can check that out anytime you want. If you've got ideas, you want to volunteer, you're in the mood for meeting strangers who become friends the minute you knock on their door. We'll be knocking on doors every weekend for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. And if you guys are looking at the screen, I'm going to put the link in the comments, and I'll put it on the screen for you guys just so you can connect quickly. But quick Google, Commissioner Higgins' name is on the screen, so I'm pretty sure you can find information.
Well, find me.
Yeah. If you want to learn more.
I'm not able to hide very well these days.
Well, it is always a pleasure speaking with you and working with you. Just to get the word out on what's going on with your campaign. And just full transparency, we are doing a media buy with your campaign. So you guys will see more information about Commissioner Higgins' campaign. So I just wanted to be transparent in that regard. But this was also an interview just for us to dig a little bit deeper as well for our audience too. So just wanted to stay transparent, but also to just thank you for, coming on and seeing the value in Hilo News' audience to share your story and your platform with us.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. You guys make sure you get all information for Commissioner Higgins' website and social media pages. Early voting is starting December, was it 5th, 6th, and 7th? Yes. Yep. And then election day is December 9th. So make sure you vote, make the best decision for your life, and look at the candidates that show up in the spaces that you value. So that goes a long way, guys. Again, thank you, Commissioner Higgins, for coming on. Truly, truly appreciate you for taking time to come out of your busy schedule.
Enjoy the week and don't eat too much turkey, or eat too much turkey. Who cares?